Welcome to the Bitcoin panel. This is a wonderful panel this week. Look at all these absolute savage rock stars on the screen, flashing their gang signs and everything. It's, careful, guys. But yeah, so this is the Bitcoin panel. We just hang out and talk Bitcoin. We'll do some quick introductions. But real quick, don't forget the main website is fractalbitcoin.com. And I'm doing quick news videos every day. And we also have a locals group. So definitely you can join our locals group here. And the links will be below in the replay. And that'll be awesome. But let's meet everyone. Carl, let's start with you, buddy. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm doing a couple of different things in the Bitcoin space right now. I help produce Tatum's show Between Two ASICs. If you see any of the graphical jokes that you see on screen, that's me.
Cool.
And then I've been working with Murph, doing StudioBTC. We're starting up a little company to do video production, animation, graphic stuff. So that's been fun. We've been working under the Bitcoin trading cards brand, working with them. So that's been exciting too.
Awesome. Oh, sorry. I went to your channel, Tatum. Why don't you go next, Mr. Tatum?
What it do? I'm Tatum Turnup. I am a bag of tricks. I'm a Bitcoin miner. I have a talk show Between Two ASICs that I sometimes do. Carl, we gotta have a meeting after this, by the way. Don't check when the last upload was. But no, legitimately, when Carl says graphical stuff, like it would not be where it was without Carl. He actually, without my knowing, he took my first video that I just like raw uploaded unlisted on YouTube that with nothing, no visual effects or anything like that, and just went to town. And I was like, yo, you want to work for me? And so we've both been working for free for about a little over a year and a half now. But monetization in 2024. Let's go, baby.
All right, let's go. All right, Brandon, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, well, I guess, a Bitcoin miner as well. That's kind of my in and out everyday thing that I do, that I'm involved with it. And then run a little meetup here in Colorado Springs. And
oh yeah,
that's right. Yep, that's right. Chris, met Chris there.
Yeah.
So it's a good little group we got here, and just trying to orange pill as many people as we can.
Sweet. All right, Murphy. You're up, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much same thing as Carl. Working on StudioBTC, so it's going to be the year of scaling media production. But I also run a meetup in my city of Edmonton, Alberta. So the token Canadian probably on the panel.
Okay. All right. And then AC is here with no camera this week, buddy. You're on the road again?
Yeah, no camera today. So AC, do a little bit of Bitcoin mining. Been in Bitcoin, in and around Bitcoin. Started off shitcoining, actually, probably like a lot of people. And then eventually saw the bright orange light and have been Bitcoin ever since.
A Bitcoin maxi. By the way, today is Gary Leland's birthday. He's the man that runs BitBlock Boom.
Happy birthday to him.
Right? I don't know how old he is, but I met him in Podcast Movement years ago. He was one of the original founders of Podcast Movement. Oh, I'm not sure. It's not showing on the screen. Sorry. There we go. BitBlock Boom. It's about a month and a half away. Bunch of us are going.
We'll see you there.
Oh,
We will.
Yeah.
wow. Then almost everyone here is going then. Wait, Tatum, are you going?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
Unless a miracle happens, but I do want to wish Gary Leland a happy 115th birthday. You're doing a lot for the space. Really enjoy you. No, I love Gary. He's a hoot.
Right? He's a beast. So everyone's so excited in the Bitcoin space this week. We cracked 60K. We touched 64K. You guys feel the energy's back, but my question is, what's different this time? Everything seems to be different. We're almost at all-time highs. We're still 47 days from the halving. What's going on, man? I've only been in Bitcoin 6 years, so I've only seen one complete cycle, and I don't know what's going to happen. So Tatum, you want to start? What's happening, bro?
Yeah, I've had a lot of thought about this over the past couple weeks. This time is different. Everyone's been saying that. It is true. This time is very different. And honestly, I'm a little scared. Because the last time we were at this range on the come up, it was, no one was like sleeping. Everyone was on Twitter shit posting, and Pump It Up was going through everyone's speakers. It seems a lot more tame this time. It's weird. And another thing that I've noticed is that the past two tops, if you zoom out, I can't remember what metric, what duration, but the candles, those all-time highs are just wicks on the candles. This one is like girthy. Like, sorry, that's a little graphic, but like we're in the actual candle of it. We're not on the wick of the candle, and it's also extremely weird because this is the first time in history that we've tested this kind of movement as far as all-time highs pre-having a secondary time in the cycle. Like if you look at any of the historical cycle models and stuff like that, we've broken it. In the words of the great sailor, all your models are destroyed, even your bullish ones. And I think the main thing that we're seeing right now is that we are seeing a little sprinkle, a little taste of the imminent supply shock. There is a supply and demand error right here. However, there is going to be a singular point in the next couple of months, in my opinion, I think, that is just going to be the Omega candle, the God candle, the like probably six figures candle, because we're getting a taste of the supply and demand right now, where the ETFs alone, the ETFs are buying increasingly more Bitcoin every single day. I think 2 days ago, I didn't check yesterday, but 2 days ago it was 11,200, and there's only about 900 Bitcoin produced every day. And that's about to get twice as hard as well. It's about to be about 450 Bitcoin a day in a couple of months. So, sorry, that was my little spiel. I had to get it out because it's been on my mind. I've been trying to make sense of it. I've been full on Charlie Day, newspapers, yarn, everything, like conspiracy theory. This time is different.
Awesome. Who wants to follow that up? Wow.
Yeah, I'll jump in next just because I'm going to pile on to what Tatum said. The thing that for me that makes this different is the last time we were hitting 60K, I was getting text messages and calls from family and friends that I haven't talked to in years. And they're like, hey, what's up with this Bitcoin thing? How do I get in? And now I've got two text messages from friends. And it's like, it seems so quiet. And then I jump onto Google Trends and I looked this morning just to make sure. We are so far below the levels we were at the last time we hit 60. And, from the US perspective, we were the 27th country in the list that's searching on Bitcoin. That's an indicator that, the global South and other countries who need Bitcoin more than we do are actually looking at it and, trying to search for how do they get Bitcoin. So I completely agree. Averaging 9,000 Bitcoin a day purchased by the ETFs, 900 in issuance. That's 10x the daily issuance. The demand is 10x the daily issuance. And then post-halving, that's going to be 20x the daily issuance. It's going to be crazy. And then also looking at the ETFs, we've got crazy news with BlackRock recommending a 28% allocation, ARK Investing recommending a 19% allocation. And I think that's part of the reason why it's so tame is people are hitting the easy button and they're just like, well, this Bitcoin thing is about to take off. I'm just going to buy the ETF and call it a day, and I don't have to learn anything else. So it's a wild time. I'm excited, but also scared at the same time that maybe on the one hand, is it going to be diminishing returns? Or on the other hand, is it going to be like that inflection point where, we go to an S-curve growth like Samson Mao talks about, or, that stair-step growth that Oh no, Stamson Mao talks about stair step growth. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time over the next couple months.
Yeah, jump in, guys. Brandon?
Yeah, pretty much kind of what AC and Tatum were saying. I've gotten so far 2 messages from 2 friends in the last couple months that are asking questions because, they've been burned in other altcoins, as many of us have, maybe, probably in this panel. And yeah, Canada, we just hit our all-time high numerically anyway. Not accounting for inflation yesterday, I think, or the day before. But yeah, there's different players coming in.
And Murph is saying that because that's one of my pet peeves is that like we talk about all-time highs, and I feel like we are missing a golden opportunity for education. Like if someone like Pomp is on MSNBC and somebody talks about like the question is like, how do you feel about this all-time high? I feel like the best response he could give would be like, well, is it really an all-time high? Because we're measuring this in a melting currency of US dollars. Really, 69K 2.5 years ago is more like 77K today. We should wait to celebrate until then. And if you can use that opportunity every time somebody talks about all-time high to educate the pre-coiners about like why their money is broken, I think that's a chance we should not pass on.
Yeah, those are good. I mean, I think there's a huge difference in this cycle. I mean, this will be my 3rd cycle, and it's like a whole new season. I mean, each cycle has its own season, and we had ICOs, and then we had this last one with NFTs and this DeFi nonsense, and now we've got ETF, like actual institutional buyers coming on. So I think everybody's wanted a little bit of it with the big pockets, but nobody's found a way to store it well. I mean, there's so many hurdles to get over from that institutional standpoint. I think that's where we're finally getting that money is slowly flowing in, and the ETFs. I mean, obviously that's a huge demand push. So yeah, I mean, the one thing though that is I think I keep going back to is, did the ETF ruin Bitcoin long term? I mean, yeah, what's great, we're going to get price pump, and maybe we're going to be super wealthy because of this thing, but it just feels like it's lost its whole ethos of where it began. So it makes me nervous because a lot of the people coming in don't care about like the properties of freedom money and the fundamental value of Bitcoin. They just are like, oh, you got some, cool, I'm going to get some too and make it go up. It's just like the new Facebook, Google, whatever. They don't realize like what they're doing. And so I think that's like a double-edged sword that I feel the happiness of it, but I also feel like there's a big part of me that's dying of like, well, we'll see how this plays out, but I'm less hopeful for that side of Bitcoin now, for sure.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, Brandon. And I'll kind of point towards Saylor's most recent 2 posts, not the most recent, but I think he said, don't sell your Bitcoin. And what the other one was, laser eyes until we realize, or something like that. But really, the one that jumps out at me was the don't sell your Bitcoin. And I wondered why, right? And pure speculation because I don't know him, but Mike Saylor, if you're watching, hey, want to meet you one day. But I think my guess is sellers are selling to the ETFs. And really what that means is it's preventing price discovery. Instead of buying, on-chain on the open market on exchanges, ETFs are buying from individuals and other private entities through an OTC desk. And why do I think this is because we're not seeing the decrease in Bitcoin available on exchange commensurate with the massive accumulation that we're seeing with the ETFs. And so I think that, the real diamond hands and the real Bitcoiners need to not be selling into this accumulation unless they've got a legitimate reason to remain solvent. But the reality is if we're holding and they've got to buy up that 1.8 million that's left on exchanges, we're going to see price appreciation. And so I agree with you, Brandon. I think that maybe part of the ETFs is not the best, but also I think it brings legitimacy. And so it's definitely a balancing act between the two, right? Prior to this, everyone was talking about it's a scam, it's a Ponzi, only criminals use it, blah, 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 bad for the environment. And the ETFs bring legitimacy to it. It's an SEC approved wrapper for Bitcoin.
Sure. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
best thing about the ETFs right now might be that the lag of price discovery lets us stack sats a little bit longer.
100%.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have this feeling, I don't know, I do remember last cycle when we started getting up, before we broke our 20K all-time high, we started getting like near 16, 17, 18, and like you could just feel the strength, and it was like, but it hadn't broken the all-time high yet, so it didn't make the news, and all, like it wasn't like a public thing, it was just like guys, all of us who were looking at charts were like, dude, this is about the, and so that's like where I feel we are now, and I also feel like, I mean, even just today, I covered a story. A lot of people are talking on Twitter and everywhere else that some of the models show a $900,000 Bitcoin next year. And at first, that sounds preposterous, but I'm not counting that out. What do you guys think? Where's the price going? Let's talk price. Come on, Tatum, give me dollars here.
I don't talk price. I talk hash rate. No, we will get there, but I don't know, honestly. Like there's I've seen anywhere from like the most bearish prediction that I've seen, which also I come from TradFi. I did security analysis, and this doesn't line up with anything that I learned. Obviously, it's a whole new, field. But I've seen the most bearish I've seen is 260,000, and the most bullish I've seen, not necessarily like a Samson Mount Suite $5 million or something like that, but like on an actual chart and analysis, I've seen like 1.7 million, I think, and that's those were tops of the next cycle prediction. I really don't know, because like this is extremely different on so many levels. Because if you want to look at a chart, that's one thing. If you want to look at fundamentals and reasoning, that's another thing. The biggest thing for me is, like I said, the supply and demand. The supply shock is going to hit very hard, depending on how these ETFs continue to operate. Maybe we're in the honeymoon phase, and BlackRock, they reached 10 billion volume today, which is the quickest that's ever happened for an ETF, I think. I don't know if that's going to slow down. I don't know if things are going to, they're going to change up strategy or anything like that. We have seen fluctuations in the past month of how much Bitcoin is coming in. But aside from a very few days, I think maybe one actually, there was net increase in Bitcoin being bought by the ETFs. So we'll see what happens with the growth of the ETFs. And the reason I keep talking about the ETFs, I know like some people, I agree with Brandon, like the whole ETFs scenario is kind of weird for me, because it's bullish. It's giving a reason for buying Bitcoin from these ETFs, and it is doing a little bit of exposure. But on the other hand, it is kind of opposite of what Bitcoin was meant to be altogether. But I kind of came to the settlement of like, y'all can have your ETFs. It'll help me out. I'm still going to live how I normally do as far as Bitcoin goes. I'm still going to use it for its actual full potential. But they are the ones that are the biggest buyers right now, and the market is about to get a lot slimmer in April. So I think that, hold on to your coins. I think it's Mandrick, the famous baklava 2011 Bitcoin seller, he said that he hates those takes. Don't sell your Bitcoin. I agree with him to an extent, because at that point, what are you even using Bitcoin for what it was created to be, or are you just trying to maximize your unrealized gains, wait to realize them, or things like that? Selling your Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, there's levels to it. If you want to sell your Bitcoin for, a service from a Bitcoiner that they offer for Bitcoin or goods or services, anything like that, that's 100% always going to be acceptable in my book. It's up to you, but in my opinion, I think it is time for hodling more than any other time that we've seen in the past couple of years, and just see how this rides. I kind of went a little further than price. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Just realized.
Very good.
Yeah. No. Price, I mean, that's measuring in what we're all trying to escape from. In dollars, like that's not really my unit of account anymore. Have very minimal fiat laying around. It's more about building up circular economy. So BTC Sessions has started the SAP market, if you guys are aware of that. Basically, it's bringing a bunch of local businesses together in a farmer's market style. You get to meet each other, all working towards the same goal. And there's no sense really to sell it for dollars. Up here in Canada, we do have it kind of lucky. There's a couple services with Bitcoin Well and Bull Bitcoin where you can pay your bills and whatever. You use Bitcoin, they deal with the fiat side of things, which is really cool.
Hey,
but,
Murph, sorry,
yeah.
wasn't Becca selling
she was
stuff
selling
or
baked
sats
goods. Yeah.
for literally, like, she didn't even change
a Satoshi
didn't do a
amount.
conversion. Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
she priced it out that morning, which was awesome. But yeah, support Bitcoin companies and people with their services. Fiat price doesn't matter. It'll go higher, I'm sure, than where we currently are. But
Right. So Brandon, do you have any, like, by the way, I just want to say that in our last local meetup that you run, you were also saying how you weren't quite comfortable with all the ETFs and the big guys coming in, and it might be ruining what Bitcoin really is. I'm actually of the mindset that I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who gets in. The mission is still the same. The effect is going to be the same. 50 years from now, it's Bitcoin is still the thing that's going to take the money out of the government's hands, put it in the people's hands. So I know what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, and at the same time, I think Bitcoin is too strong for all. I think Bitcoin is stronger than every government in the world put together, and so I'm not worried about that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I just to add on to what I was saying, and Brandon may mirror this as well, but I agree with you there. Like, that's where I kind of settled on. It's like, if you want to get an ETF, a Bitcoin ETF, cool, go for it. Not for me. I'm going to still get spot Bitcoin, put it in cold storage, and Bitcoin is for everyone, but everyone doesn't want Bitcoin. I think maybe they think they want it and will get it with an ETF. But if you don't see the value proposition of buying actual Bitcoin and putting it into cold storage, I don't want to say you don't need Bitcoin, but you're not the target audience, I don't think. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna still be doing me. TikTok next block. I don't think that Bitcoin has gone down in the past decade or so. So you know what? Pump my bags, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting. I mean, there's this lots. It does have the distributed nature to it, so I think it would be a step backwards for sure, but I think it's basically just like a new reasonable state level attack in some ways, right? Like it's a smarter than full on frontal attack. It's like a quick way to get everybody that thinks they're so smart into, and this is just like the way that I feel like a lot of government psyop type of things are played, is you get positioned into a place that you think that you're the one handed up above, but reality is they're like a few more steps ahead of that, planning out, yeah, and this will be great because we're going to lead them because they're going to think it's awesome because price goes up, which is great. And yeah, you can move out of the country or you can do all these things with it, but I don't know. It just becomes something different. If the ethos is lost upon the majority of holders, it kind of is muting or watering down some of those principles. But I don't know. Price could be interesting. I think looking at the charts, sure, but I always just go back to like how much actual money it takes to move the market. That's something that a lot of times people don't really mentally comprehend, like how much has to come into Bitcoin. And yeah, I know there's trillions of dollars in real estate, trillions of dollars in gold, but that's like a slow drip that converts over time as the boomers all die and they pass their retirement inheritance on to like people like me, or then I'm like, I don't want your stocks and things or whatever it is, or real estate, I'm going to sell it and convert it. But that's still over the next like 10, 15 years, I feel like. So I'm bullish, but I'm also bearish. I mean, prices, like I'm going around and saying like 100K seems reasonable to tell like just even any average pleb, like we're more than likely going to hit 100K in the next year and a half, 2 years. And that feels like to me, even tempering my own results of like, okay, great. If we hit 100K, let's plan for that. And if we go over that, then everything's gravy. And even then, it's like I shouldn't even be thinking about price because technically I'm holding this thing for another 5 or 10 years. And like, the more I get wrapped up in price, the more I feel FOMO of like missing out that I didn't buy last week. I didn't buy in 2011 when I first came around, So it's an interesting thing of like thinking like, where is that price point that I'm done with it? It's like, I don't know if it ever matters. It's just when is the price point good enough that I can then take like loans from it or use the value of it to draw from to create more wealth like within the meat space.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely I'm an optimist, and I'm also, there's some hopium floating around in this room here where I'm sitting. I mean, look, I'm sorry, it just is. Come on, this is fun, is it not?
It is. It's so fun.
Yeah. So is it going to be higher by Creed? That's what everyone's
No, absolutely not. All right. That's not this cycle song.
Well, you better start pumping out some alternatives.
We're Back by Martin Horger.
Okay.
I promise you. It's got the same.
He's going to be sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a good song, but that's not this cycle song. The energy's not there. If you want a song that mimics the feeling, the electricity, the energy of Pump It Up, and the same meaning that it has to us Bitcoiners, Martin Horger, We're Back is this cycle song. I'm dying on that hill. All right. Is it a well-known song? No, it's not. But it will be. Same thing with Pump It Up. I didn't know about it until I was introduced to crypto. All right. Creed is not that for us. Okay. It's not. Sorry. There we go. I'm done.
Agreed. And I thought of one. What about and it's not the perfect song though, but it's like almost perfect. For those about to rock, we salute you. With the cannons firing and everything, right? AC/DC. But again, it's not quite perfect, but it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay. My price thinking is I think it might go a lot higher than we all think. I think it might the 900K that might be a stretch, but getting up to 300-400K, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be surprised at all. However, there are going to be, if it gets up that high, there's going to be a lot of people that start selling, right? You think?
Yeah.
There'll be some salty dogs out there.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that's a little different here is that like you have to gauge hodlers because there are a ton of people who have held all the way down from 69,000 USD because of several reasons, probably mainly because they're like, I'm not going to sell for a loss. And this could be anything from, buying $10 at the top to someone aping all the way in because their son was on Reddit and said, Dad, this thing is going to $1 million. And in that ride down, you got to wonder how many people ended up realizing that they accidentally got introduced to something that they agreed with, they needed, and started doing the research, and then they turned psychopathic and was like, I'm gonna double down at 16,000, gonna ride it all the way up. But then also, how many of them are watching the price? It's like, all right, 70K, I'm selling out, never touching this again. It's been a hard 2.5 years or so holding like this. I don't know what sentiment level seesaw that is, but it's going to be once we start testing all-time highs again at about, I'd say between 67 and 70K, we're going to see some crazy ups and downs.
That makes sense. So, all right. Any other comments about price, or we can move away from price? Carl?
I wonder, like, the last cycle was different because of COVID. And this cycle is different because of ETFs. So I wonder, like, there's always going to be some kind of outside forces pressing in on, that price action. But I wonder how accurately we can predict things like that when there are such big outliers having a force on this system,
That's a good thought.
That's a great point. And alongside that point, I would say we're actually the ETFs have only been approved for less than 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still in the early stages of that. And
Oh, yeah.
this is like a year from now, the ETFs will be an old thing. Like, oh yeah, everybody can get an ETF. They know it. And so, yeah. So besides price then, what are you guys excited about? I know, Tatum, you were talking about Africa, bro. You got you're all in on Africa. What else are you guys psyched about in the Bitcoin space besides Bitcoin Atlantis, which none of us are at?
This is probably the most FOMO I've had related to a Bitcoin event since I've gotten in. Like, I knew it was going to be bad, but then it started happening, and I saw pictures and videos, and I'm like, okay, this sucks.
It hurts. It hurts.
Uh-huh.
It's painful.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm bullish on hash rate. I'll go ahead and just drop a prediction. Yearly high for hash rate, quote me, 1.2 zettahash.
Wow.
Now, how much higher is that than the previous high? Because I don't know what that means.
Oh, I mean,
It's like double, I think, isn't it? I think they
it'd
hit
technically be
like
about double from right now. But, I mean, we're consistently hitting all-time highs basically every day for hash rate.
Wow.
Sweet.
which is
So-
like price follows hash rate in at least coming from a mining aspect. Like that's what I've always seen is like these dudes, like they're setting something going on and the price comes and matches like how much hardware. There's some crazy equilibrium that happens in Bitcoin with the amount of hardware deployed in price.
Yeah.
That's another narrative that I'd like to see pushed forward more is all-time highs. Like when somebody asks about all-time highs, like I hit an all-time high each time my DCA hits because I'm not selling. So I've got more Bitcoin every time. That's my all-time high.
Love it.
I love the subjective, not subjective ability. Everything is subjective, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, because the main thing that I like talking about being subjective in Bitcoin is mining profitability, because people will talk about profitability and have this kind of general number and based on maybe power cost, efficiency, XYZ. For me, profit, after I learned about mining and everything, profit was the first KYC free sats that I earned from mining. And I think that there's levels there because that's also obviously not economically sustainable. Like it's like, oh, I can get KYC free sats and just pay this crazy electric bill. Awesome, I'm going to do that. No, I can't do that forever. And there is levels to that. But when you look at just every single metric that people talk about in Bitcoin, there is a level of subjectiveness to it. Like Carl was saying, like I'm hitting all time. I got paid on the 15th, and I hit an all time high myself. So it's cool to see what different scenarios think about different metrics in Bitcoin.
Nice.
Yeah, that's so funny. But Lou says last cycle we never had a blow off top, so we're still in the old cycle till the halvening. I don't. Yeah, and then of course. Murphy.
Yeah, I was about to say those messages.
I blame Carl.
Neither of those messages said having, so none of them count. Right?
Oh, shots.
Oh, you said having? Sorry, didn't know you were stupid. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
It's just something I'm really passionate about.
I would go for having. HALV.
Thank you.
Yeah.
ING. Yeah, that's
ING. Yeah. So on the hash price, so you're telling me my two S9s that I'm running as space heaters, I'm contributing to this number that you mentioned. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I should turn the third one on. Okay.
Hey, go right ahead. I
Watch out.
I actually I tweeted this a little while ago and it was kind of funny. But my apartment is all in rent. Electricity is not variable. And I was like, you should have never told me that. So, I mean, I plugged in a V9, which is 4 terahash. Because guess what? That was statistically profitable. And then my landlord, so I live in Colorado where it gets really cold every now and then. So, of course, I'm going to, turn on the heaters. And my landlord sent out an email and said, we're investigating this spike in electricity prices. We may have to increase rent if it's not resolved. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And so I was like, I posted a GIF. It was like me and my S9s when my landlord sends me an email, and it was a bunch of people like running into a building. I'm just like, oh, no, I'm just going to sweep those under the rug.
I could picture the landlord like drinking coffee, reading the bill, and like doing a spit take. Like, what the?
I don't know how I didn't flip a breaker. Like, I don't know anything about the electrical layout in that apartment. It is archaic, but I plugged in. I had 4. At one point, I had 5 machines going just to see if I could, and I could. So,
Nice.
Tatum,
Hey,
there's only one apartment that doesn't have any snow or ice around it. And I think it's yours.
So my apartment's actually like halfway underground, and the window comes out at the ground level. And so the first big snow that we had, I was like, I'm gonna do something right now. And so I turned all my machines and put the exhaust going out, and I forgot about it. I had left to like go to dinner or something. I came back and I just noticed out the corner of my eye. I was like, "Yo, that's my apartment. There's no snow outside of the window."
Nice.
Love Colorado.
Wow. So I had a thought earlier today, and I wanted to run it by you guys and get your take on it. It has to do with the idea of Bitcoin being sound money, right? Because I just finished reading the Bitcoin Standard. And we know that fiat is the worst kind of money ever possible because of the way it's inflated and used by the ruling class to basically suck the value out of your life every day in every way. And I was thinking, like, there's an analogy, like let's use a house for an example. You could build a house today, and the house, what do you think? It lasts for maybe 100 years, 80 years, a well-built house, maybe even longer. but picture that building a house and it lasting 100 years, that's fiat. But if you were dealing with sound money, you could build a house and let's say it would last 1,000 years. And not only could your kids and grandkids and like generations could live in a house, and if every generation built their own houses and they all lasted for 1,000 years, you're building wealth, you're accumulating wealth, you're turning your effort into real wealth, and it can't be, it's not being taken away by the government. Whereas now everyone's just scrambling to make money and pay their bills, and the government's just sucking it out. So I think sound money, that's what it does, and it's like that. So what if we get even closer to a Bitcoin standard, then people can work and build things, and those things will last longer, and the value will go up. And so maybe in a few generations, people won't have to work 8 or 10 hours a day. Maybe you only have to work a couple hours a day. Then you can do other things like learn and meditate and have a true spiritual practice and actually sort of delve into what the heck am I? What is this meat sack on this planet? How did I get here? And anyway, ask all the bigger questions. What do you guys think about all that?
If your house was literally built of Bitcoin, it would upgrade itself. It would like remodel itself, and there would be an addition that would just appear magically over time. That would be insane.
That's funny.
Look, I'm gonna drop a little teaser just on this specific conversation. I am working on something that kind of describes what Carl just talked about, and that's all I'm going to say. Stay tuned.
Whoa. Are you
You
like
can make any
are you like
interpretations
designing
of that if you
clothing
want.
that's going to be like a hardware wallet?
No, Ledger already does that.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have the little hat where you can, with a pocket for your Ledger, and the. Hey, also, if you're listening, do not get a Ledger chain or hat pocket. That's dumb and dangerous.
Dangerous.
Did you see Chris from Seedor's post about that yesterday?
No, I didn't see it.
He is hilarious. It's hilarious. It's like a mock-up basically of that classic Ledger hat post. He does one with a sun hat in an M1 Ledger, like the first release.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I remember everyone was like photoshopping like big chains with like cold cards on it or something like that. I told MVK, I was like, bro, can you please do this? He's like, absolutely not. I was like, I wasn't serious. Hey, chill. But
Nice.
yeah, Bitcoin houses.
Yeah, we could actually talk about that. Like, where should you store your Bitcoin? I mean, I know you should have it on your own hardware wallet, but like, how do you store the seed words, and how do you, because if I have a hardware wallet in my house, someone comes in and whatever, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. You guys want to get into that conversation?
I love that conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
AC, what do you think, man?
Well, it depends on where you are in your journey, right? So I think when most people start off, they get a hardware wallet and they back it up, their seed phrase on paper. But like we've talked about in the past, paper burns, the ink, it runs when it gets wet. And so the next iteration of that is going to be stamped in steel. And then like you kind of alluded to, you want to keep your hardware wallet and your seed phrase backup geographically separated. And so it's a combination of those things. And then if you're talking about a multi-sig vault, you've got 2 hardware wallets and 2 metal stamped seed phrase backups. Are you going to distribute all of those? It's going to depend on your use case. Like if you're trading all the time, nice video. If you're trading all the time, you probably want to have both of those hardware wallets easily accessible. But if you're holding long term, then it's probably a good idea to distribute all 4 of those among 4 different locations. So yeah, I think it depends on the person and their comfort level. We talked about before is a custodial wallet early on as people get comfortable, non or self-custody wallet moving forward, a hot wallet to a cold wallet to hardware to multi-sig. It's not a one size fits all, basically. It's a journey, and everyone should always be upgrading their security stack.
Is that like
Stefan, Go ahead,
Oh.
Brandon.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, that feels, I mean, this is, and I agree, like, with you, but that just, I always go back to like the average normie, and like, how does that get easier? Because I mean, even, if Bitcoin goes to what you're saying, anybody's in here saying, the value that we would be securing, like self-sovereignly, would be extremely like huge responsibility. I mean, if I had to move 7 figures around, 8 figures around, that feels scary. I mean, and that's just like, I don't know any normal person that's ever going to get to that. And that's where I'm like, dude, we got to figure that out quick, because if we can't, and I understand that that's against the ethos. It's like self-sovereign. Well, I need some third party because I'm an idiot and I'll screw it up.
Yeah,
It's
but
a weird
there's answers for that too. I mean, Brandon, we've talked about collaborative custody or institutional grade collaborative custody with multiple institutions. Again, Tatum said he loves talking about this. I love talking about this because there's so many different directions and avenues that you can go, and there is no one size fits all. Everybody's unique, specific case is going to have a unique solution to it. Somebody who had a stack back in 2011 that's now 7 or 8 figures, hopefully they've been studying the underlying asset and studying the protocol and the network, and they've continued to upgrade. But if it's an old legacy address that's never moved, and they're like, holy shit, I struck gold or oil here, they're probably going to need to reach out to somebody on this panel or somebody else to get them to the place where they need to be able to secure that safely and comfortably. And they've got to practice. That's one of the things that I talk to people about all the time. They're like, hey, I bought it. I sent to my hardware wallet, and it's been sitting there for 2 years. Where's your backup seed phrase? Oh, it's in the safe right next to it. When was the last time you practiced, wipe and recovery? Oh, you never have. So you don't even know if the backup that you wrote down on paper actually recovers the same wallet. I mean, you're right. Normies aren't going to get it. This is a journey that people have to practice. And if they're not practicing, there's tons of examples of lost wallets and lost coins and contributions to the network. So I see what you're saying. And for people who aren't willing to take that journey and learn, maybe the ETF or MicroStrategy is for them.
I also think that that a big thing that's going to end up helping, in my eyes, for every, like, I know this is still kind of a little bit technical, but for everyone from your average millennial or your younger person all the way to the boomers, I think that the standard should be set at getting into, maybe not like a one fatal swoop, but getting into a 2 of 3 multi-sig somehow or another. And with that, if that's the standard set, which I know it's not going to be like a general agreed upon standard that everyone goes by, but I mean, the UX UI is going to be a huge factor in self custody. Sparrow is one of my favorite wallets because one, that's how I learned about UTXOs. Two, they're you can integrate. They've integrated like most every hardware signing device on the market right now that like detects it, knows how to pull its key store, everything like that. And also it's very simple. It's a little clunky on the look, but it does really kind of show you how your signing devices work. Like that was the first time that I actually realized, oh, this cold card little calculator guy does not have any Bitcoin on it. And it's actually through just setting it up alone, I learned a lot. And I think that a lot of people in the space are working on educational material regarding this, and also UX UI in assisting. But the collaborative custody is also what I think might end up being a pretty common thing for, I guess, boomers that they just kind of understand, Bitcoin go up, how do I hold it? That's going to be the standard for that's going to be the first go-to. And I think that everyone should end up try to aim for at least a 2 of 3 multi-sig, see where you go from there.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, not a fact, just letting everyone know.
Yeah. like I don't own it myself, but the Bit Key by Block, like
Oh, I have
that
one of those.
all it is like a fingerprint. So apparently there's no words and stuff. It seems like a really cool type of possible easy solution for people to start their cold storage. No. Yeah.
Fingerprint, no seed phrase. That kind of gave me the ick right there, right off. Sorry.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I know, because
mean,
in those movies, they'll just cut off the finger and then bring the finger to the thing. And,
there is a weakness there, yeah. From my understanding, but
yeah, I want to do the multi-sig thing. And I know BTC Sessions had a video on the nunchuck. I guess it's a wallet or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've used nunchuck with I got introduced to nunchuck with Sats card. Is it Sat? Yeah, Sats card. I get confused with tap sign or Sats card, but nunchuck is actually really cool. I need to play around more with it, but honestly, this is my opinion. Best practices setup is a multi-sig, 2 or 3 multi-sig with either a cold card jade combo or a jade cold card combo. That is very opinionated. It's not fact or anything. It may work for you, it may not work for you, you may agree, you may not. But in my opinion, that is a really good setup. And if I want to move Bitcoin, I have to hop on a plane. I would encourage you to think about geographic multisig as well. Multisig is really dumb if all of your keys are in the same drawer. Just want to let everyone know that. Check out Crypto Cloaks as well. They have for just about every hardware device right now, they have 3D printed mounts for them, and you can put them behind a bookshelf, in your rafters, or just somewhere inconspicuous that you can just slide it in that only you really know about. But I love talking about hardware wallets.
Nice.
Yeah, and speaking of something I love, D Gun is here. I would like to say, sorry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. I know I went a long way for that. I'm glad it got a few laughs. So let's start to wrap this up. We got about 7 minutes left. I want to ask Carl and Murphy. I know you guys are doing something really exciting, which is very close to my heart. I'm a audio engineer and a podcast producer and all this stuff, and you guys started StudioBTC. So let's talk about that for maybe a minute, maybe a little less, but I'm going to bring it up on the screen. So why don't you guys tell us what it is real quick?
For sure. Basically, Carl and myself have a background in media production, so graphics, animation, video editing, live streaming. We'll be live streaming over at BitBlock Boom. So if you can't make it in person, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. So podcast production, various graphic design stuff.
Right.
Carl,
Also,
I'm
probably
sure.
live stream production.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, that's what Fractal Bitcoin and the Bitcoin panel. We need to blow up and get really popular. So then because I want to hire StudioBTC. Anyone wants to?
Hey, Carl, Murph, do y'all want to say something, or are you picking up when I'm stepping in?
So
Are you looking for an apology, Tatum? Is that what you're looking for?
No.
Yeah. Are you looking for labor? Are you
The thing.
The thing.
Your show?
No.
Come on, spit it
Never
out.
mind. Never mind. We didn't cover this so we're just going to not bring it up, and anyone watching it is going to get the teaser that I thought
Okay. I wondered if you were
it sounds
going
like
there.
someone sane is listening to me, Murph. Go ahead, Carl. What were you going to say?
So here's the danger. When Tatum says teaser, that means you need to consult your bookie on the over under of whether this thing is ever going to happen or not. But
That is true.
there is something in the works. I
Oh,
think
yes.
that will be
Okay.
fun. So
Are you
That's
just
what
now
you're
getting
talking
that,
about.
Murph?
a teaser,
Sounds
non-teaser, a teaser, non-teaser.
Okay.
Yeah,
It'll be good when that takes
it'll be
off.
fun. It'll be very fun.
Yes, it'll be very unique for the Bitcoin media / podcast space.
So follow Studio BTC for that. All right, that ended up kind of working. All right,
Okay,
we got to rehearse that next time before
exactly.
All right, Studio BTC. There we go. So, and Brandon, real quick, you have the local Bitcoin meetup group that we attend every month.
Yeah, third Thursday every third Thursday. We got one on the 21st this month. So yeah, it'd be good. Have some people around. There's lots of good stuff going on in Colorado this month. So
Yeah, oh
it
yeah.
And AC, what about you? Well, I know you attend the meetings that Brandon holds, and you also have your own local meetup now too.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with that. You know, I really enjoy Brandon's meetups, and so really I just took that over to make sure that there's any conflict of interest. One thing I'd like to share, this kind of goes back to why this might be different. My mental model for this cycle is I've kind of mapped out in my mind 4 checkpoints, and if we hit all 4 checkpoints, I think we break everything. We break the whole cycle, and we're going to start new. So checkpoint 1 is, do we see an all-time high before the halving? If we do, that's unprecedented. Never happened before in any of the previous cycles. Checkpoint 2 is, do we break diminishing returns to the upside? We talked about that curve earlier, and every cycle peaks a little bit less percentage-wise than the previous. And so if we do break diminishing returns to the upside, and we go into Samson Mao's stair-step model, or we go to Wicked's hype to FOMO model, and then the third checkpoint is, do we see a milder or a stunted bear market starting in 2026? And the reason I say that is, with the ETFs in play and portfolio rebalancing, we're going to see selling into appreciation as that percentage of the portfolio increases, automatic rebalancing. And the same is going to happen in the bear market. Those same portfolio managers are going to buy on the downturn to reallocate to maintain that portfolio percentage balance. And so does that diminish the amount of drop in the incoming bear market? And so if we hit all 4 checkpoints, I kind of think that's like game, set, match for Bitcoin this cycle.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. All right, so if I was a betting man, I would start taking bets on all of that and the price and everything. But I'm not. I don't do betting. But we'll have to see, AC. We'll have to keep your. Well, I'm sure you wrote a post on LinkedIn about it. You can.
No, right? I didn't. I saved that for you.
Oh yeah, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So last round. You guys have anything you want to mention? We're right at the point here. Any last words?
It's going to be a great year for all of us.
It's going to be a great year.
That's right. Yeah, we all gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many people we know probably won't, but we can try and educate.
Yeah.
Sacrifice convenience. Until then, you're not free. That was a little
Sweet.
deeper cut, but
We love it. We absolutely love it. So thank you guys for joining. I wish you all the best of success in 2024, including you all watching. This has been a great panel. I so appreciate you guys coming on. Definitely send me any links and stuff that you want me to put in the show notes and everything. Just send me a bunch of stuff. I'll include it all. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to come over and join our locals group. Yeah. Please. please, our locals group is an awesome place to hang out. And you know what? And I feel bad promoting locals because I want to. And I know there's a platform on Nostr that's a group, but it's not there yet. But I want to do everything on Nostr, so also jump on Nostr and connect with us. So, all right, that's it. Let's say goodbye. Thanks, everybody. Later.
Haters.
Later.
Have a good weekend.
Hey, take care.
Bye.
You guys.